So the first project at the workshop has not gone to plan, and here's why. So this engine was meant to come out in 2 bits, but the head will not split.
Right, show you what we've got on this this Polo. It's showing up as EGR valve, coolant bypass, and the turbocharger solenoid. We've looked at it, it's blown this fuse, which powers EGR bypass, the turbo pressure sensor, and the coolant valve, coolant pump. So it's got a 10 amp fuse down to there. Somewhere down this wiring, the customer said that it's in some faulty wiring on it.
Christian scanned it in the morning because he had a glow plug light on and an engine management light on, but he had the glow plugs changed, and then he said a few days later it came back on. It came up with 3 codes: one for the EGR valve, the turbo actuator solenoid, and the coolant pump down here. So we unplugged the turbo actuator plug, and fuse blew again. So we found out where the coolant pump was, which is actually down here. So we've taken the wheel off, and it's in there.
Oh, she's a bit green.
And we pulled the plug out, and she's a bit green. So the pump's obviously leaking into the plug, causing some corrosion, and then the short stopped. So it's not blowing a fuse anymore. So it's a new pump, though.
So what did you find on the wiring? Nothing.
Nothing. No damaged wires.
Somebody else has been, yeah?
Yeah, we checked out where they'd already been before, just in case. Like, even if they've cut the trunking back and they've nicked a wire and it's shorting on another wire, it could be as simple as that. So we checked anyway, just in case another garage had done that. But no, it's fine in there. So they've just obviously checked it out, trying to find a short. No damage or anything. So it's literally just that plug down there. It's causing the fuse to constantly blow, and all the lights come up.
So yeah, it looks like it just needs a new pump and a new plug on there. Speak to the customer, see if he wants to carry on with that. Obviously, we've done the fault finding. He may want to take it back to his normal garage and get that done. So yeah, but Barney's just put all that back together. See, it's in some wiring what had been touched and mucked about with down in the engine bay. So yeah, he stripped all that out, made sure it was all okay. So right, I'm just doing a quick focus dash cluster repair, and then we're going to get all these cars swapped about and get on with what's next. Right, show you what we've got in today. We've had this XF come in. It's got a ABS fault on it. Scanned it, and it's kind of both ABS sensors at the front. It's had some work done on it. So it's had both front discs done on it, as you can see. But the customer wasn't sure, when he had the brakes done on it, he wasn't sure whether he took in there for ABS fault or brake warning lights faults on. So he's gone back, and again, he wasn't sure whether the first garage, what he took it to, said that one sensor had gone down. Then when he went to the next place, they go, well, it's coming up with both sensors. It don't sound like that would work. You know, it's very unusual for 2 to go down at the same time. So he was worried that where he had the disc done, they've disturbed the bearing. Not sure. But to strip one of the bearings out on there actually is outweighed by the cost of a genuine sensor. So we're going to get a sensor, put that in the morning, see what that one does. This Transit Custom, we've tried calibrating in the sensor. Again, the steering angle sensor, done exactly what it says, and it was not playing ball. So the problem with things like that, it can be the steering angle is going to be out, can be a number of little things, could need a software update. And again, you know, electrically it's fine, the steering angle is working, but the software just don't like it. So we're going to suggest going to the dealer. Could be an update, could be that they do it in certain test drives that we don't know about, you know. But you know, I'm not spending hours and hours and hours on that when I'll never see one again. So that's going to have to go to the dealer. I've got this ML come in with a battery drain. Barney's just working through that. Let's show you what he found.
Don't buy an ML. Or Mercedes in general. Right, so coming with a battery drain. We've done the usual, had a look around it before anything. See if you can. I see if I can see anything at the gate obvious aftermarket wiring somewhere in a visible spot. First of all, we noticed the head unit is different, but that's all good. Connected the meter up, and we had 120 milliamps coming out. yeah, it was quite a big drain, so we thought it could be multiple things. So went round, had another look, still nothing too visible, and then tested the fuses. We had a big drain, big power outage on the rear 12-volt socket. So I'll take you back here and I'll show you. This was the 12-volt socket, and initially we pulled this back, couldn't really see anything. So I dug a bit deeper, I took a lot more out, pulled the plug out, pulled it around here, and it had two splices in it. So it had one for this unit, which is a tracker, it's like a navigation and a speaker system, but we still had a massive drain on it. So we thought it could be something else, and then we noticed another aftermarket wiring going up the D pillar, um, and pulled, took a load more trim out, pulled it down, and there was this up there with enough wire to wire your entire house. So we pulled that out, and there's still a drain on it. So I'm still actually working on it now.
So have you lost any drain?
We've lost quite a lot. We're now down to about 40 milliamps solid. We're looking for 1, 2. I found a little bit of the drain on one of the fuses up at the front, which controls the headlamp, the footwell lamp, the OBD port as well. So I'm going to run through that, see if I can find it. But still, that's only a little bit of the drain, and it's not down to 1, 2 yet. So we're still going on it. It's a long one. There's loads and loads of stuff in it. So feeling it might be either like an alarm or a horn or something like that. Something with sound, just with the amount of drain that's coming out, it makes sense. But yeah,
cool.
We'll have a look.
So when we tested this through, the actual 12-volt socket down in here, it basically we see it had a battery drain on it, going straight down to that, but it had nothing connected to it. Disconnected it out the back, and yeah, the drain was still present on it. When you disconnected the fuse, the center pin, which is 12 volt, would slowly drop down, even with no fuse in it, which is the power supply in. It would slowly drop down to sort of 9 volts and just drop and drop and drop over a couple of seconds down to 1.2 volts. So there was a chance that it was back feeding from somewhere. So we went to the underbonnet fuse box and actually disconnected it direct. So under here, we actually found out exactly what pin was coming out of the fuse. So if we disconnect the fuse, you've got 12 volt going in, disconnect it, and the other side, the output side, would go from 12 volt down to 9, down and down and down. That could have been corrosion on one of these plugs where it was literally sort of feeding across. So we disconnected the plug, found exactly which wire it was, which was pin 10 on this green plug, pulled that out, and yet between there and the back, the whole wire was basically showing us that 9 volt dropping down to about 1.2 volts. So we knew we had something on it. And normally when it does do that, it's normally a battery which is being charged up, which is drawing all the current. As you disconnect it, that voltage just slowly goes down because obviously a faulty battery. Yeah, that's how we traced it back to that. And that's when Barney sort of stripped it out and went further with it. But yeah, quite an interesting way of finding a fault. But like I say, that could have been corrosion on the front SAM showing up as that, and back feeding. So yeah, quite an interesting way of sort of splitting it up. This one's a bit of a weird one. It's come in as a non-start, 63 play. It's a Fira. Yeah, so it's not communicating with the ECU at all. Undone the main power plug to the ECU, checked all the lives, earths, everything. Connected that back up with the ignition on, and it started, and it's done everything. But if we show you now, we got nothing. Engine's not buzzing up, no, nothing. But so if you disconnect the battery now, connect it back up. Right, so that's at a full reset now. Still nothing. Now what I'm going to do, leave the ignition on, and yeah, ignition's on. Disconnect battery. So as he connected the battery back up, you can hear the engine is powered up, and that will start. So that's a weird one. Not quite sure what's going on with that. But yeah, if you turn the ignition on its own, it doesn't power up the ECU. But if the ignition's on, and then you connect up the ECU or you connect up the battery, the engine fires up, fires into life, and then it'll start. So yeah, I have to dig a bit deeper into that, see what we've got going on. Right, so I just thought I'd run you through this Skoda Fabia we've had in with an aircon fault. It's been sold by a big dealership, and the aircon wasn't working. It came up with a valve on the air conditioning compressor, so they fitted a brand new compressor. Still not fixed it, so we've had it in, done a fault code read. Yeah, it is showing that there's a fault from the compressor. It literally comes from the switches inside the car right the way down to the compressor. That gives it its power, and then it earths up through the chassis. So I'll show you what we found. So this is dealer diagram. This is your air conditioning switches, which is your main control module. We've got voltage out of here, but it says there's a fault on this circuit somewhere. So we've checked here, checked back here. That is all crisp. That's all perfect. On this point on the air conditioning compressor, it's meant to have an earth, and the earth's not there. So we followed this back through. Found it is a bolted earth. So yes, it shows, it links across, then it shows down to 761 up here is earth point on the front left longitudinal member. Perfect. So if we have a look on there, so earth point 1 front left points down to here, so it's going to be in this area somewhere. So we have got a 4-pin plug in line, so it comes out your compressor in through the engine. We tested it as 4-pin connection. I'll show you where that is. So yeah, this 4-pin connection is down inside the engine bay. So this is your 4-pin plug down there. So we've got your voltage down, that's all okay. It's got no earth compressor end down there, no earth there. Come back to this plug, opened it up, no earth being put into the plug, and apparently this part is where the earth is. You may have seen the fault, but I'm going to show you live on camera. So I don't know if you've seen it, but this, you can just see a bit of green around there. I haven't opened it up. I'm going to do it live on camera, and let's see what we got in there. No cuts, no edits. Pop this apart. Does my head look bald in this? So apparently there's going to be a splice in here somewhere, but I can't see where the bolted earth is. Can't see it there, but this part what's green here, right, look, you can see it's rubbed right there. You see that? Rubbed through there. I'm pretty sure if we open that up, get a blade, cut that back a bit. Can unwrap it from there? Oh, go. There, look. The brown, hopefully you can see that, is the earth. I don't know what the other green's for, but this green and black gives you power down. Let's get in better position. Ah, there we go. This is where the fault is. Now, there's no point in really testing it because we found it, but yeah, this will be earth, and that's where it's lost it. So we'll get that stripped out, get them soldered up, and yeah, job's a carrot. Right, so we talk about investigation on cars do start at the phone call. Mentioned it a few times now. We've had this one in. It's been to a locksmith. The customer, when it runs, turn the ignition off and it stays running. So they took it into a locksmith. They fitted a new ignition barrel in it and it was fine. Happened again a couple of days later. So they fit another ignition switch and it happened again. So the locksmith had phoned us up and said, can you have a look at it? It's not turning off when you turn the ignition off. So we booked it all in. Customer phoned up, said that so when the customer phoned, they also said that the battery's going flat on it. Come this morning, they've put a new battery in it, charged it all up. I said, okay, yep, so battery going flat, yeah, etc. And he said, no, here's a video, this is when it doesn't turn off. I said, is it still doing that? No. I said, okay, well, let's do the battery check. So, well, no, we want to make sure that it's all okay. We need to check the van. I said, well, no, we'll check what you're telling us is wrong with it. And they're going, well, we don't know anything about cars, so, you know, how can we tell you what's wrong with it? So, well, we can only fix what you're asking us to fix, not, you know, check the whole thing and check everything on the van. You know, we can only check it. So, well, can't you just diagnostics it? Because that's what people think it is. I said, no, just tell me what the fault is and we'll fix them faults. He said, well, we just want to make sure it's okay. You know, so it's an awkward one where you're trying to get all the information out of them. So we did, they've left it here. Then the gents phoned back and, you know, we had a bit more discussion. I said, look, the problem is he's been somewhere, paid a few quid out, and it looks like they've just said, let's try this, let's try that. That's what he didn't want to happen again. So I've explained the process to him, what we sort of do. We're going to find out how much is coming out the battery. And then what we'll do, we'll actually go through it methodically and be able to tell them exactly what's going on. There's no guesswork, you know. So if we find out that, you know, the radio's at fault or the sat-nav unit's at fault or whatever it's got in there, you know, then we can give them a more informed choice more than just sort of guessing on what parts are faulty. So, and what we're hoping is when we find something, like there's a few units that have a switch live and a main live, if that's shorted out, that can be put in sort of a main live back down a switch live and leaving the ignition on and stuff. So fingers crossed we do find that. But yeah, again, we're not, can't just bring your car in and say it's broken, can you fix it? I don't know what's wrong. It's like, you know, going to a doctor and saying, well, there's something wrong with me. Can't give you any symptoms. I don't really know what's going on, but I know something ain't right. So, you know, you need something to work on. So, but again, it seems quite happy now. So we're going to get it stripped out, find out what's going on with it, and I'll let you know what we find. Right, so we've got this one back together, repaired them 2 wires, put it all back in. Aircon's working sweet. So yeah, as soon as we plugged it back in, coded cleared, put it back on, pressure's coming straight up. We know the compressor's working. Yeah, so that one's all done. That one can go out. Right, so we've had this boxer set up. It had about 560 milliamp draw on it. Gone through all the units, gone through all the fuses, and it was going everywhere. Voltages where they shouldn't have been, worked all the way through, and I'll show you what we found. So the underbonnet fuse box hasn't got a cover on it. All looks okay from this side of it, but this side, you can see, it's got corrosion in it. It's also started to burn out inside, so there's no way that's going to come apart and be fixed. Got a bit of corrosion just there, so it's going to need a new one of them. And it was actually leaving on the engine control relay, which was, you know, probably would have been the reason why it was staying on. So we're going to price it up for him. I'll show you the plugs. Yeah, you can see the plugs there. They're all corroded. So they're going to need cleaning up, de-pinning, you know, taking all the corrosion out of them. New fuse box. But yeah, so I spoke to the customer and he's absolutely over the moon that we've found something. Again, he's been to a couple of places. Like, well, and he's only just bought it as well, so he's put himself in a bit of trouble. People have taken it on with a little bit of guesswork, but, you know, educated guessing, but didn't quite get it right, and that's what he's worried about. As soon as we found him, we found that, he's like, oh, thank God for that, you know, I'll come down in the morning, I'll have a look. Well, my missus is going to be over the moon, you know, so yeah, looks like we've got a good result on it, but it does go to show getting all them bits of information out to the customer. The diagnosis starts on the phone, it doesn't start when we've got the car in, you know. Working out all the information what we get and then working through it. It's a bit funny, but it's just what I need to know. So yeah, customers having a moon with that. So yeah, all good.
Right, so we pulled the Orion in the workshop. Bob's turned up in the other camper van, and I'm gonna set you up on a time lapse and show you me getting the engine out. But that's why it's coming out. It's got a massive block, hole in the block. So yeah. We'll get that out and then see what we can do with it.
First, didn't you?
Yeah.
We're going to manifolds off, turbo off, head off.
And then taking the block out.
And then block out on its own. So yeah. take everything out, lay it all out as it should be. But make sure first thing we've got to do is make sure the head's good, because we've got to use that head on the bottom end of the Z-Tech.
Have you got another bottom end already?
Got a Z-Tech bottom end. It just needs a crank polishing. But yeah, it's already converted, ready to go in it. So it's come out of Series 1, a mate of mine's got it.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, so we'll get the engine. So once that's all stripped out, we're going to get the bottom end, get the crank all polished on it, and then we'll build the engine on a doodah, what's it?
Doodah, what's?
And then put the engine back in there and load it all back up. So yeah, cool.
It's a 20-minute job, that.
Yeah, mate.
Right, so I've tried to pull the head off the block, but because the bolt snapped, she's not moving at all. She's stuck. So we're going to have to go to plan B, take it all out as one and split it while it's out of the car. So I'm going to go through now, take the rest of the stuff off, pull the entire engine out, and then we'll be able to split it then when it's out. So after a long battle, finally got the engine out. So now I'm just going to drop it down, drop the inlet manifold off it, try and split the valve head and the cylinder head. Right, so the engine's out. We've tried to split it while it's out, but it's not having it. So we'll try again next week, see what we can do with it, see if we can salvage anything. But if not, it's going to be a new head as well. All that's left is to get this out of the workshop, and then we'll see you next week.
Right, that's the end of Tuesday. Hope you like the work. Obviously soon Barney doing his project work. He weren't too pleased with that, but yeah, hopefully that will come out right once he's done all that. So yeah, show him a bit of love in the comments if you can, and we will see you on Friday.